Hey there, I'm author Sarah A. Chrisman.
I'm Gabriel Chrisman.
And today we're discussing Alan Pinkerton's book, The Murderer and the Fortuneteller. Now this one was published actually in the same volume as The Detective and the Somnambulist. So he published two stories in one volume. And this one is quite the romp, but it is a true story.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about Alan Pinkerton before. He was a detective. He was a very famous detective.
He was a private detective, one of the earliest ones.
Yeah,
yes.
he was one of the earliest ones, and the few that had existed before him had mostly made their living digging up dirt for divorce cases. So they were mostly scandal diggers.
And Pinkerton really wanted to elevate the profession and become, more of what we think of now as a modern detective, or at least is based on Sherlock Holmes and things like that, but Pinkerton was earlier.
Yeah, Sherlock Holmes actually was based on Pinkerton.
Correct.
Because Pinkerton, as Gabriel said, was earlier, and he was American. Different from Sherlock Holmes, because Alan Pinkerton was very American.
Yes, and he was very real, where Sherlock Holmes was very imaginary.
He was also very much a Yankee.
Yes, he was.
He was so involved, before the Civil War, he was so involved in abolition that he basically couldn't go back to the South without disguising himself, because he would have just gotten strung up.
Right. And a lot of these ones that he's writing about happened in the antebellum South. This is the 1850s.
Yeah. So anyhow, this one is it's a fun one. If you like stories with just a little touch of the supernatural to them, or at least playing around with the supernatural, you will like The Murderer and the Fortuneteller. Because in this one, and again, this is a true story, a man has come to Pinkerton's detective agency, and he says his own sister has tried to kill him for his insurance money. She has tried 3 separate times, to poison him for his insurance money. Now, Pinkerton, being a canny, smart guy, his first advice is cancel your insurance.
Yes.
Which is a good first step.
And this is a very patient brother.
Yes.
If he hasn't gone to anyone, even after the first 2 times.
Right. He hasn't gone to the police or anything. Well, part of that is he can't prove it. The circumstances make it very, very obvious what's been going on, but he can't prove anything. And he does love his sister, despite her attempts to murder him.
Right.
And he thinks that it's all because she's being led astray by this married man who she's having an affair with. Now, she's also a married woman, but the brother feels that she's just being led astray. And Pinkerton's response to this is, oh boy, what a mess. But I'll try to help you. First cancel that insurance, and then I'll try to help you. So the sister is involved in this torrid affair with a married man. And very early on in the story, his wife dies, poisoned, of course.
Of course.
And so then Pinkerton's primary thing that he's trying to do is he's trying to get an autopsy done of the murdered wife to prove that she was poisoned, because the man that was the murdered woman's husband and is the lover of this other woman, he's got friends in high places, shall we say. So he's not being called to account for any of this. So Pinkerton is trying to get the truth out about that case, because he figures, well, at that point, then the rest of it falls apart, hopefully. And in the course of these things, Pinkerton notices that his client, so the brother who has survived the attempted poisonings, is very superstitious. Now, so is the sister. And so Pinkerton, and this is where Pinkerton is doing things that wouldn't really fly with modern detectives or modern police work.
Right.
He brings in a favorite character from his books, who's a real woman. This is Kate Warren. Now,
one of his favorite undercover agents, essentially.
Yeah, because there were very few, well, at this point, by this story, he has a whole department of women detectives. in his agency. But that was highly unusual at the time.
Mm-hmm.
He was the first to hire a woman as a detective, and that was Kate Warren. She was his first agent, first woman agent.
And it's still definitely his favorite.
And is still definitely his favorite. And she's definitely the favorite of all the readers.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, everyone wants to read more about Kate Warren. She's actually a really popular woman in terms of historical figures.
Mm-hmm.
People who are into women's history are really fond of Kate Warren because she was the first woman detective, woman private detective.
Extremely dynamic figure.
Oh, yes, she's extremely dynamic. And she's very smart. She's very smart, and that's why she was so useful. Up until this point, there had been women who were used by official government agencies, but mostly what they were doing is they were searching smugglers. So they were searching the female smugglers. So if a woman tried to get through customs with things hidden under her dress, which was very common actually, they would have a woman U.S. government agent search her and find the contraband. That was what most women agents were being used for at this point. Kate Warren was the first private woman detective. And so she got to do the fun stuff.
And who frequently went undercover.
She frequently went undercover because no one was expecting her.
Right.
Now, in this case, in this story, Pinkerton goes the extra mile, and he has her not just go undercover. He's got another woman agent from his agency who's befriended the sister and getting information that way. He has Kate Warren set up a fortune-telling business. So it's not just that she's presenting herself as a fortune teller to the client and the sister. No, she's got a whole business as a fortune teller to make it look good, to make it look plausible, to make this believable. And so she has this whole seance room, and there's skeletons in there, and everything you would find in a true fortune teller's office.
And this fits right in with the popularity of spiritualism at this time, and just all of the, well, it was a real sort of, it was a bunch of modern religions that were emerging.
Yeah. Why don't you tell a little bit about that? Because that stuff's interesting. It's important to understanding the story.
Yeah, and this is sort of in the aftermath of the Great Awakening. And you had a whole bunch of new religious movements that were springing up and becoming popular in America. And you had the Fox sisters, who were the ones who really popularized the whole...
The wrappings
and communicating with the spirit world, and using this as a method for fortune-telling, essentially, and for guiding people in whatever direction, and making a lot of money. But also, quite a few of these people were actually sincere about it. They weren't just in it for the money. Some of them were in it because they believed in all of what they were talking about. But there were equally as many opportunistic people who were just there to make a buck.
Right, and this part of society that is involved with all of these new religions that Gabriel's talking about and such, these are sort of the hippies of the Victorian era.
Absolutely. They had utopian communities, they had free love, they had...
which definitely comes into the story because of that torrid affair between the sister and the married man.
There are some direct connections and parallels between the hippies and the utopians.
Absolutely.
The back to the land stuff, the long hair, funny foods, sort of granola and whole wheat came out of this. Graham was involved in that, of the graham cracker fame, though he would...
And Kellogg, too.
Kellogg. Graham would be horrified by the modern graham cracker, by the way.
Yes, but let's not get too far off topic.
Yes, but all of this was happening at this time. It was definitely the background.
Right, so if you want to read about the hippies of the Victorian era, this is definitely a really good book to learn more about that sort of echelon of society. And anyhow, so Pinkerton assigns Kate Warren to this case, and I'm not going to spoil too much of the story for you because it is a romp. It is a romp, and it's got great themes for a story. Even though it's a true story, it reads very much like a novel, but it's true. It's a real life case of something that actually happened, and yet it has You know, insurance money as a motive for attempted murder, which is a classic noir trope.
Right.
It has grave robbing. It has abortion in there as something that happens. And yeah, it has the free love and adultery theme. So it's a really good romp of a book, even though it's a true story. And so if you like fun, interesting, slightly mysterious stories,
Yeah.
it's a really fun one.
And it's a great window into some of those weird subcultures of the 1850s.
Oh yeah.
And some of the ones you don't often read about in most of the mainstream histories.
Right. And if you like women's history, you've got Kate Warren in here. So what more do you want?
Exactly.
Honestly, you've got everything. A little bit of everything. So I highly recommend The Murderer and the Fortuneteller. It's a really good book, if you can find it. It might be a little tricky to find these days, because Pinkerton's books, unfortunately, the best ones have not been the most reprinted, which is too bad. But his early works are definitely my favorites of his stuff, and this is a really good one, so I hope you'll check it out. And of course, I hope you'll check out my books too. And if you like this video, give it a nice thumbs up, and happy reading!